Today we're here to meet to renew our citizens' lawsuit against the EPA, U.S. EPA, for their failure to comply with the Federal Clean Air Act. 1 year ago, we actually stood right here in this same place to initiate a legal challenge against EPA Regional 4, and that's Atlanta, charging that North Carolina granted a permit to Duke Energy combustion turbine project in Hamlet, North Carolina, that was in violation of the Federal Clean Air Act and environmental justice laws. So that petition said then, in sum, the permit allows excessive emissions of air pollutants that are having a negative impact on the public health and allows an ongoing environmental injustice, and we called the EPA then to object the permit, and it's been over 300 days and no response. September the 17th was actually the day, it was our 1 year anniversary of filing that first legal challenge to the EPA on this permit. Over 300 days late, still no action. So who is going to hold Duke accountable? It's obviously the state's not holding them accountable. The EPA Regional 4 is not holding them accountable. And the EPA is extremely slow.
I have here the petition that Pastor Rogers has just referred to. And it is dated September the 17th, 2015. Just 1 year after our original petition under Section 505 of the Clean Air Act. The petition states that the North Carolina Department of Environment and Natural Resources, their Division of Air Quality, has failed in its oversight of this facility and has issued a permit which we find many troubles with. There are 5 points that we raised. 1, failure to provide meaningful public participation. 2, failure to assess the common control of Duke Energy Progress and Piedmont Natural Gas electric power turbines, both located at the same site in Hamlet. 3, failure to require alternative compliance procedures under the Clean Air Act. That would be maximum achievable control technology to reduce the pollutants coming from the plant and reducing their impact on health. And finally, failure to address environmental justice issues. Lack of EPA response, 300 days, as Pastor Rogers has just pointed out. We submitted that document on September 2014, and over a year later, all we have gotten back is a pro forma or simply a courtesy letter saying, we got your letter, and we're too busy to deal with it. I think it is exactly what characterizes it. Failure to assess common control of Duke Energy Progress and Piedmont Natural Gas. There were several turbines which were removed from the power plant permit, which we dispute, and our petition goes into some length about that very subject. This is an illegal act. The failure to require alternative compliance procedures under the Clean Air Act. The combustion turbines operated by Duke Energy Progress emit enormous amounts of volatile organic compounds. They are powered by liquid fuel, mostly diesel, and more natural gas. Natural gas was supposed to be a cleaner fuel, but it's turned out to be not a cleaner fuel because many thousands of pounds of formaldehyde is emitted into the air every single day that plant operates. Also benzene, a known human carcinogen, in addition to nitrogen oxides and many other compounds which are have a negative effect on human health. There's a failure to address environmental justice issues. The core of environmental justice is that there should not be a disproportionate impact on any ethnic group. In this case, we're talking about population of Richmond County, for example, which is 31% black, which is 41% above the state average, And 28% of the residents live below poverty level compared to the statewide level of 16.8%. In other words, Richmond County has 47% more of its people living below poverty level than other counties in North Carolina.
And I just want to add to that, 86% of those that just live within a 6-mile radius of the power plant are African Americans.
That's exactly right. The closer you get to the plant, the more stark is the comparison. For example, in the town of Dobbin Heights,
That's right.
83% of the residents are African American. 32% of the population is below the poverty line. According to the Richmond County Health Department, Richmond County ranks significantly higher than other counties in the region for a 5-year span from 2007 to 2011 for emergency department visits and hospital inpatient stays, primarily because of asthma. Asthma is directly related to air pollution. We believe, and we have requested from the EPA, that they reopen the Richmond County Combustion Turbine Facility Permit. This is within the power of the United States EPA. EPA is our backstop against a bad job done by the state of North Carolina. So one or the other has to do the right thing here. We also feel that the disproportionate impact should be corrected by a disproportionate amount of pollution control. That is, to make up for the disproportionate impact of the pollution on the community, there should be an extra level of pollution control, and that would be the maximum achievable control technology, which the state of North Carolina has failed to require, and now the EPA seems to be playing cat and mouse with us in terms of their failure to respond. We will not give up until the EPA responds, and we will be doing further things in the upcoming months.
Eddie, my name is Deborah David. I'm the treasurer of the Concerned Citizens of Richmond County, a resident of Hamlet, and I want to speak a little bit on Duke Energy. Ever since Duke Energy shift to natural gas, the pollution has tripled in that county. And I've been living there all my life, and in the past several years, the pollution has got worse. I have an associate, Kim McCall, a member of the Concerned Citizen of Richmond County that live within a half a mile of Duke Energy plant. She's been having respiratory problems in the past year, more than I ever seen. I never known her to have any asthma or any kind of breathing problems until the past year from this pollution coming from Duke Energy. I believe, and she also believes, and other members of our group believe, that the health problems are coming from the pollution that Duke is producing out there in that area. And our group has tried for over a year to make sure Duke and the state is held accountable. But it's shameful that the EPA region has also dropped the ball. What I've seen out there, and I've seen it with my own eyes, I drove out there and I've seen smoke and I smelled the smoke. Of course, I went there this morning, but it looked like fog in some other areas. But when I went out there, it smelled like smoke. I went to go pick up the flyers. It smelled like smoke out there this morning, and I seen a long line of smoke going straight across and nothing on the outsides of it.
We know that formaldehyde is one of the big toxins coming out of a natural gas-fired power plant. And so some of the testing we will initiate. Apparently, we're left to our own devices. EPA won't listen or is too busy to listen, and I think we're left to our own devices. And so, like we have done in other places, we will begin doing our own testing program. And so we hope to have results from that sometime in the next few months. We'll begin that program very soon.
But the one thing about it in Richmond County, our asthma rate is so high, nobody's concerned about it. Everybody getting asthma, not even worried about it. Duke Energy is part of the problem. It seems like the EPA is ignoring us. But we are not going to stop. We're going to keep going, because the Concerned Citizen of Richmond County and all the surrounding county, we're not going to let Duke dump this on us like this. We're going to keep fighting.
Mr. Sean Ingram from Rockingham in Richmond County. He's a farmer and co-founder of Richmond County Coalition for Justice and Black Empowerment.
Thank you for that. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
I'll be quick, brief, impactful. I stand here today as a son of this soil. I stand here as a descendant of indigenous Black people who have lived on this land, worshiped on this land, buried our loved ones in this land, and fed our families from the land for generations. We are farmers. We are land people, Black people who have lived on this land, worked this land, worshiped on this land, and buried our loved ones on this land. We come from people who knew how to survive from the ground beneath their feet. Long before corporations came here with promises, our ancestors were here with plows, mules, gardens, tobacco fields, churches, schools, cemeteries, and communities. Our family history and community records show that our people were here before 1769. Our ancestors helped establish the Dock Reed Meeting House, which is what is now called Rockingham, North Carolina. This means our roots in Richmond County go back before the founding of the United States itself. So when we speak today, we're not asking for permission to belong here. We are already belong here. But for generations, Black and indigenous people have been pulled off land through fraud, tax pressure, heirs property, manipulation, partition sales, intimidation, lack of legal protection, and other coercive tax. Land that our ancestors fought to keep was taken by piece, acre by acre, and generation by generation. And how, after all that land lost, after all the environmental racism, after all the pollution, the poisoned water, the old pipes, the dry wells, industrial dumping, and broken promises, Richmond County is being told that we need an Amazon data center. Let me be clear, we do not need a data center in Richmond County. We did not ask for one. Our communities did not ask for one. Our water to be placed at greater risk did not ask for hundreds of acres of land to be transformed for corporate profit. We did not ask for money, diesel generators, more energy demands, more pressure on our infrastructure, and more decisions made behind closed doors. My brother, William Ingram, said it plain in his interview, if nobody's going to fight for our land and air and our water, it has to be us.
That's right.
And that is why we are here. Because this is not just about one project, this is about our survival, this is about whether the original inhabitants of this land will continue to be ignored while outsiders decide what happens to our future. This is about whether our children inherit clean water or corporate waste. This is about whether our elders will be respected or sacrificed. This is about whether our history will be honored or erased. We are not against jobs, we are not against opportunity, but we reject the idea that economic development must come at the expense of Black, indigenous, working class, and farming communities. Most of all, we deserve the right to say no. No to environmental racism, no to corporate land grabs, no to development without consent, and no to sacrificing our water, our farms, our cemeteries, our communities, and our future. We have been demanding justice for generations. We are still demanding justice today.
I've lost my grandmother, my grandfather, and my mom due to this.
So this water problem is much bigger than Flint, and I said yes.
You know, every time they drank sink water, they would vomit. So I knew something was going on before it became a public thing, you know.
My whole thing is, it's been well over 12 years why we ain't got no settlement, why they ain't came and told us what the deal is.
They're everywhere. All of us have been exposed to them. It's just the fact that people in this community are drinking it.
Yes, everybody get out, sign the petitions, work for Cedar Creek in East Fayetteville. Let's get our water back. Since I've lost my grandmother.
On one final welcome to Richmond.